Hello and welcome back to Montreal by Night. So once again, the recording stopped yesterday. The previous time, I can't remember if it was yesterday. So I'm gonna go back to the Fufun. I don't know if it's the internet connection, if it's OBS, but something is not going great all the freaking time. So I'll go back to the Fufun Electric, which means electric butts, is the cornerstone of Montreal's underground scene. The club has been closed many times for drug-related offenses, but its doors always reopen, defying both the police and the city administration. The music played varies. Nearly every alternative style is played while people trash around in Montreal's most notorious mosh pit. The decor is industrial, bordering on techno, with ample application of black light, smoke machines, and lasers for atmosphere. Foof also serve as a venue for live performances. A number of underground bands have played here, including Ministry, Skinny Puppy, and many of Montreal's local bands. Certain packs, namely the Young 2517 and Les Orphelins, make it a point to attend Black Mondays to dance and revel in their vampiric powers. The Metropolis on 59 St. Catherine East. Metropolis is one of the few clubs in Montreal to achieve international recognition. Built in what was once a posh 20s movie house, Metropolis is a multi-level complex in which heterosexual ravers and gays can find corners to dance, drink, or do whatever they want. The main dance floor is serviced by 4 bars and is overlooked by an extensive balcony. Toward the rear of the club is a movie screen on which video clips are synchronized with music. Red velvet couches are scattered throughout the club, giving Metropolis a baroque atmosphere. Club A's, 3699 Saint Laurent. Another St. Lawrence notorious club, Purple Haze is an interesting mix of 70s psychedelica and 90s techno. The small club attracts loyal followers, and the dance floor is usually packed every night of the week. During the summer month, those who don't get in carry on the party in adjoining abandoned buildings, where the music can still be heard. The Heart, 7667 Saint Laurent. Very few know of the small secluded club called The Heart. Those who do are members of Montreal fetish and S&M scenes. The club is also a popular hangout for the Sabbath. It served as the lair of the exotic Widow's Pack. The Heart is located in the red light district of Montreal. Its discreet entrance marked by a small red leather door that seems to pulse in sync with the music inside. In sync with the nature. Catering to those who live on the wild side, the club is a labyrinth of corridors and small rooms where patrons engage in any number of activities, including dancing, heated discussion, art shows, photo shoots, and of course sexual acts. At the Heart, anything is possible for a price. The walls, couches, and beds are covered with velvet, rubber, and leather. The lighting is soft. Most of the club is bathed in deep red hues, and sweet smelling incense concocted by the rose wafted through the air. Wafted Hey, Leaf Jones, here we go again. The deeper one ventures into the heart, the harder it becomes to repress one's desire. Even the most restrained vampires have been known to frenzy, giving in to their most perverse desires. In the deepest recess of the club is a corridor that leads to a large metallic door, from which moans and the rattling of chains can be heard. On the door itself are two human bodies, a male and a female, flesh crafted into place. The inner sanctum is shaped like a seven-pointed star. The walls are made from human flesh and infant bodies, merged together to form one continuous network of skin and veins. A chandelier bathes the room in deep, warm red light. In each of the seven corners of the inner sanctum is a small shrine dedicated to one of the seven deadly sins: envy, gluttony, greed, lust, pride, sloth, and anger. These shrines are adorned with living icons that are attached to the living walls. The statues exemplify and constantly perform the scenes they represent. The rose and creamy jade regard the sanctum as their greatest work of art. At the center of the inner sanctum is a dais that's filled with blood. Drops defy gravity by moving from the pool to the ceiling. The blood sustains the room's living walls and shrines. The floor is littered with plush velvet and satin pillows. Its bloodstains are hidden by the room's soft light. The widows greet all personal visitors in this room, but each widow member has a private lair located elsewhere in the art. Places of interest. Le Plateau Mont-Royal. While the name mostly refers to Saint Laurent Boulevard, Le Plateau Mont-Royal includes the many smaller streets located between Saint-Denis and Saint Laurent that run parallel to Sherbrooke. The heart of the plateau is the intersection of Montreal Street and Saint-Denis. The area is largely residential. Its low rents and bohemian atmosphere attracts students from both McGill and l'Université de Montréal. The area just east of McGill, delineated by Saint Laurent, is more commonly called the Mcgill Ghetto. On these streets, nestled away from the bustle of Saint Laurent, is the Faraway Seas bookstore, the one-room shop specialized in occult and esoteric items. The Mile End. The northern part of Saint Laurent, starting roughly on Laurier Avenue, is in many ways the French twin of Sherbrooke Street. Boutique and restaurant convey a francophone image. Of interest in Mile End is Lux, a cafe bistro which is known throughout Montreal for its extensive three-story magazine racks, eclectic clientele, and vibrant discussion. Marie-Hélène, a member of the Archbishop's Pack, meets with a francophone intellectual. The village. The area below Sherbrooke, between Berry-UQAM and Papineau, is known either as Terrace Ontario, the gay village, or simply the village. Until a few decades ago, it was a low-class, blue-collar neighborhood. A few years ago, both Ontario and St. Catherine Street underwent revitalization. Montreal's gay population moved in, giving the streets a unique ambiance. The village swiftly became one of the island's most diverse areas. Unfortunately, harsh times have resulted in rashes of violence and gay bashing, even more cutting edge than Saint Laurent. The village complements the main and contributes to Montreal multiculturalism. The Queens of Mercy Coven rules this area and jealously guards its mortal earth from other Sabbath. Places of interest. Torreskin, Ontario Street, a few blocks north of St. Catherine, is known for its many tattoo and body piercing parlors, which are open 24 hours a day. Toraz Skin is owned by and run by Toraz, a Bratovich revenant who specializes in unique tattoos and who is a close associate of the Simises circus Master Zarnovich. Toraz also enjoy providing special order victims, from children, paraplegic nuns, and Siamese twins, to the local celebrities for select Kainite patrons. Many of the clubs in the village are sexually oriented. Open to both straight and homosexual, these spots feature fetish nights and perform art shows that would shock even the most open minded. Under the influence of the Sabbath and, more importantly, the Queens of Mercy, many of the area's gays have begun lashing out against those who they feel have harmed them. The village can be dangerous for those who don't belong. Heaven. Heaven is, for the time being, the premier gay club in Montreal. Its 3 floors are all beautifully decorated in a celestial motif, with with hanging dance floors that resemble large clouds. Heaven's funky atmosphere and cutting-edge music attracts Montreal's hip gaze. The club also serves as the lair of the Queens of Mercy Coven. Old Montreal. Downtown has its high rises and the underground city. The main has its diversity and ambience. It's Old Montreal that gives Montreal its historical appeal. Located south of downtown, the old quarters encompasses a fairly large areas that extend from University Street to Jacques Cartier Bridge. The region was destined to become an industrial wasteland had it not been protected in the 1960s by both Montreal and Sabbath. Mortals were concerned for the district's historical significance. The Ville-Marie colony was established here. The Sabbath wanted the area protected because of its many tunnels, corridors, and underground chambers, which the original settlers and Sabbath had built and expanded since the 1600s. By day, Old Montreal is picturesque. It attracts tourists and locals by the thousands. By night, a subtle change comes over its streets as a thick fog rolls in from the St. Lawrence River. The few street lights are all designed to look like antique gas lights. Sand shadows dancing across the facade of edge buildings. The small streets become labyrinthine, instilling a sense of claustrophobia. It's common for the unwary to become lost. Old Montreal is one of the regions that the Sabbath claims as its own. The vampires still make use of the numerous tunnels and corridors that link the district to their communal haven. Few mortals ever dare enter Old Montreal at night. Not even the police make an effort to patrol it. The Sabbath reigns over Old Montreal, but there are darker powers at work there too. The region's unnaturally dark shadows hide the blood circle of Metathiax. The city center. Sorry, it's 11 p.m. I'm ready for bed. The city center of infernal worship. See Infernal Rites in Chapter 4. Shopping and food. Located in the center of Old Montreal, near impressive City Hall, is Place Jacques Cartier, a two-block pedestrian court where both tourists and locals enjoy the sights. A few antique shops and bars line the streets. They are busy during the summer months but are deserted in winter. At the heart of Place Jacques Cartier is a deteriorating statue of Admiral Nelson, which forever overlooks the St. Lawrence River. Not far from Place Jacques Cartier are a number of museums commemorating Montreal's history, including the Pointe-à-Calière Archaeological Museum of the Chateau Ramsay Historical Museum. Politics and business. Old Montreal, aside from being architecturally and historically important, is also the seat of Montreal's government and home to a number of financial institutions. Dominating Place Jacques Cartier's is Montreal's impressive 18th century City Hall and its adjoining Palais de Justice, police headquarters, and municipal court. The head offices of four of Canada's leading banks house the neoclassical buildings dating back to the last century, are also located on Place d'Armes. The Montreal Stock Exchange and World Commerce Center are located 5 blocks to the west. Places of interest. Marché Bon Secours. This large golden domed this large golden dome building, oh yeah, Marché Bon Secours, was built in 1845. It was used as a city hall for several years, and then became a market until a fire destroyed it in the late 1940s. The structure was rebuilt then, and again after another fire in 1979. Since then, the building has remained largely unused, except for the occasional exhibition. The structure's basement once served as a Sabbath meeting hall until the construction of the new communal haven in the 1800s. Notre Dame Basilica. One of the original and most famous of Montreal's churches, Notre Dame was built in 1642. By 1830, the simple parish church was replaced by one of Canada's finest and most beautiful example of Gothic revival architecture. The church has been a bane to the Sabbath. No Cainites has ever set foot in it, not even a shepherd. And that coven once used the neighboring Vieux Séminaire as its haven. The church aura of faith is simply too great to overcome. The shepherds and librarians have their theories, but no one has been able to explain the church's potent aura of faith. Le Cirque du Soleil, just east of Place Jacques Cartier, is the home of the world-famous Cirque du Soleil. A large warehouse has been converted to serve as the circus stage and training areas. The surreal haunting antics fuck, that was tough, of the Cirque du Soleil, are appreciated by mortals and Sabbath alike. Chinatown. Sandwiched between Old Montreal and downtown is Montreal's relatively small Chinatown, covering 3 blocks. It features small stores, inexpensive restaurants, and cheap apartments that house newly arrived immigrants. What makes Montreal's Chinatown special are the numerous tunnels that link it to other parts of the city. Gambling dens and brothel were once run in these tunnels. Today, the Sabbath rules the underground, but rumors of eastern vampires never seem to abate, even when there is no evidence to support them. The furnace, lost in the industrial section of Old Montreal, is a small refinery that was abandoned during World War II. Surrounded by a chain link fence, the refinery is used by the Sabbath to burn bodies to prevent the local authorities from finding the remains of those who vanished each year. Once a month, the old furnace is fired up and bodies are thrown in, including some live ones, just for the fun of it. Um, soot trains down across old Montreal, lightly coating surfaces with a thin grey film of human ash. It's getting warm. Montreal, located located at the center of the island, is the small mountain after which the surrounding city is named. Montreal's thick old trees and cycladic path contrast with the nearby downtown core. At its base, the mountain is dotted with the sprawling mansions of Westmont and the Golden Square Mile. The mountain is also the site of two of Montreal's largest graveyards, the Montreal and Notre Dame des Neiges. At Montreal summit is a park designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. Winding paths encircle the peak and lead to a number of glens and picturesque lookouts. As tranquil and serene as Montreal may seem, most people only dare visit it during the day. The mountain exudes a subtle yet ominous presence. Its ancient gnarled trees block all moonlight near the summit. An eerie stillness descends, and strange noises can be heard from the dark underbrush. In recent years, the park has become the refuge of both hermits and the homeless. They loiter in small groups, like modern primitives praying to the sleeping master of the mountain. The Sabbath rarely travel to the mountain because a number of Kainites have ended up missing after their mountain travels. Some claim that lupines own it. The truth is far darker. It is the resting place of the demon Metathiax. Places of interest. The cross. Montreal skyline is overlooked by a large lead cross, an illuminated testament to the religious foundation of the city. The original cross was placed on Montreal on Epiphany, January 6 of 1612, by Paul de Chomedy de Maisonneuve. Jeez. One of the leaders of the Ville-Marie colony. De Maisonneuve ascended the slope bearing the cross on his shoulders in thanks to God for sparing the colony from a great flood the previous Christmas night. Subsequent conflict with the Iroquois made maintaining the cross difficult. It was finally replaced during a period of peace in 1642. On Christmas Day 1924, a steel cross with electric lights was placed on the site, and it still shines over the city. During the 40 days of Lent, the cross's white light are replaced with deep purple bulbs. Interesting. The current cross is of little consequence to the Sabbath, although it does radiate a mild aura of faith during Lent. Old vampires, however, know that the Maisonneuve cross sank into the mountain over a period of several decades. Fragments of that cross are occasionally discovered and are marked with arcane symbols. The artifacts are rumored to have the power to destroy potent kyanites and enlighten even the most foolish. Montreal and Notre-Dame-des-Neiges cemeteries. These cemeteries cover a large portion of the mountain. Montreal was originally located in what is now Dorchester Square, the site of the Sabbath's communal heaven, and was later moved to the mountain in the 1850s to make room for Montreal's expansion. Small roads and densely packed rows of tombstones characterize these cemeteries. The areas are home to the dead and to homeless hermits who live in the many crypts and mausoleums. The cemeteries, like the rest of the mountains, are perplexly what are perplexing to the Sabbath. Only a handful of creation rites conducted there have ever been successful, and the bodies of those who did not resurface were never found. Okay, that's gonna be enough for tonight. I'm gonna stop there because it's getting warm, I'm getting tired, and I need to sleep. So it's been 26 minutes. That's perfect. And I'll see you another day. And I'll try to have a good night's sleep. I was just making sure. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe and like my channel. And if you want to support me in that new endeavor of mine of reading and building better knowledge around Montreal by night, you can go and check the link in the description to go and give a couple of dollars through Patreon so I can keep working on that forever because I really enjoy all that stuff, building the game, building the lore, and making Montreal part of the world of darkness lore more and more. À ciao, bonsoir. Bye.